Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next session. And I'm very happy to have Mehmet Naci Akuk from Crafting Tomorrow. We've spoken a few times before this, and this is another wonderful product or company that's trying to solve a big issue in education. So I'm not going to steal your story, but I'm very much looking forward to it because I think this is a genuine need that you're trying to solve, and I'm looking forward to hearing more and having you share with others. Thank you.
Thank you, Angeline. And I suppose it is me taking over from this point on. Thank you for joining and thank you for your time, for listening to us, to me, in Crafting Tomorrow. And as Angeline said, we are working with educational technology, especially, but education in a very special meaning, which is like preparing not only schools, but also politicians, authorities, and industries, businesses to keep up with what's happening, with the changes. Um, my name is Mehmet Naci Akkek. I am the CEO of Crafting Tomorrow, and I have a little bit about my background. I've been working in computer science, and lately, of course, like everybody else, AI, practically forever. It's almost 50 years soon. And I have been working. I have kids, so I have a relationship to education, definitely. But I'm also used to be, until about 4 years ago, I used to be on and off associate professor at the University of Oslo and the Oslo Metropolitan University. So I have a background in the industry and in education. What we're going to talk about today, what I would like to talk about today, is, as the name implies, the enormous changes that we are facing, the storms of change, and what to do with those changes, because there is an ongoing discussion, but you probably heard of that. Someone would shield, someone would definitely not touch anything and let everything happen, and someone like us would like to be in between, choosing a more balanced path. Uh, so our questions are, can we anticipate and manage this enormously fast technological change? Can we do it so that we can harness its power and be able to mitigate its risks at the same time? Or do we, like many other countries are doing these days, just ban it? And what would be the consequences of banning it? We have a disruption, and it is absolutely not the first time we are having a disruption related to AI. Is now that's the one we are having now. But the social media disruption, that was just recent, just before AI became a thing. It was also a serious challenge that we needed to master. And these things, when they come, are adopted very fast. They are developed very fast. So technology, these changes, these disruptions move very fast. And one of the challenges with that is our educational systems, our businesses, and society itself cannot keep up with it. But we have to. We have to learn to move as fast as the technology. Otherwise, we run into serious problems. We cannot just survive it, just let it be and hope that it goes over. We need to understand, we need to be able to harness it. And that's what I mean by mastering it. The future is belongs to the prepared, because otherwise we would be uh, receiving what's given to us, and not necessarily always a good thing. So that is more or less setting the scene for this talk. we need to master disruption. We need to master changes that technology causes, the impacts of technology on society, on education, on businesses, on skills, on the job market, etc. So what is this storm that we need to be mastering? It is, of course, today, the last fad, the AI and generative media. It is evolving very, very fast, and it's reshaping everything. It's not just a technology that is sort of passing by, but it is influencing how we teach, how we learn, how we communicate. It's influencing the whole society. It's influencing technological overhand, basically who leads in what, also in security, also in defense, for example. And of course, it gives an economical edge in addition, you've probably seen. So one element of the storm is today's AI and generative technology. The other one is the one that was just before, but we still have challenges with it. That is the algorithm-driven ecosystems. It's, if you want, social media, uh, how the digital environment or the social media are engineered to maximize engagement, and how they affect the kids, amongst others, and how they affect those who cannot defend themselves just yet, for example. But it affects also the job market, it affects education, it affects a lot of things as well. And there is this other third element of the storm, and that is what's been discussed and banned recently in several countries: screen time. It may not be the correct focus of discussion, but it is being discussed uh, because we are using too much time looking at the screen, scrolling around, doing things. And some of us are very practically addicted to it, and it has its consequences as well. And they are also, these are a little bit related. The screen time is increased also because of this algorithm-driven ecosystem. And now that we have the generative media and we can go to the screen and ask anything that, it's a flower that we see on the road, what is this flower and all that stuff, that is also uh, impacting the amount of time we use with the computers, with our screen time, basically. And there's another storm. This is one of the most important, related to especially what we do with these technologies, how we handle these technologies, basically, also from the point of view of youth, the kids. I call it the job market storm. Uh, uh, as you see on screen, this is based on the World Economic Forum and the trade institutions and each country's, especially EU, European countries, own statistics centers and all that stuff. They seem to think that there will be about 92 million jobs displaced by 2030. But they also say that there will be about 170 million new jobs created. And that's nice, of course. It's a net gain of 78 million new roles, jobs that people can work at. But there is a catch here, because there's about almost 40%, 39% of the skills today that we educate people to need to change. Sorry. Some of these skills are not only AI and big data, as it's sort of implies on the as it's implied on this my slide, but there are many other categories as well. There are skills that we need to identify which ones are going to be displaced, which will be obsolete, and which will be the uh, needs for the newly created jobs that we see. So that is the part of the storm, one of the main parts of the storm that we need to handle, and you will see why soon. There's another part of the storm, the cognitive and the social storm. These personalized algorithms and infinite scrolling and all that stuff creates a compulsive engagement pattern. It's called the digital dopamine loop. It's a dependency. It becomes a dependency. It also puts our attention, especially the children's attention, under siege because 75% of screen content is viewed for under 1 minute. Users switch focus every 19 seconds. These are statistics. And this leads to an eroded concentration capability. So it reduces the capability to concentrate. It reduces the capability to pay attention to something, to stay on something for a long time. And that's necessary for anybody, everybody, and especially kids, especially youth, as they're growing or becoming part of society. And there's the third one, rising risk of blindness. This cognitive overload that we call just talked about, and these are related, of course, the dopamine loop that keeps us attached to this screen, and reduced attention span. All of these they lead to, or they contribute to, a cognitive overload. You must have seen it if you had kids. You probably see them scrolling and scrolling again and scrolling and all that stuff. It's a constant multitasking is one way of saying it, but lack of attention is another one. And they will never be able to, because they are not taking the time, and maybe they haven't learned to understand what is a fake or misinformation. They don't use the time to stay on it and see and think of it. They are open to fakes and misinformation in addition, and that's what we call the risk of blindness. This is the cognitive and the social stuff. There are ways of reacting to these storms, to these rapid changes, to these disturbances, disruptions, if you want. One reaction, the first reaction, you remember the title of the talk is Yielding, Shielding, Wielding. So we start with the first reaction, that is yielding, which is basically allowing technology just to wash over the society without any real interventions or without any regulations. We see it in parts of the world. Europe is trying to fight against that, trying to put forth regulations. But we are dependent upon the digital media from the parts of the world that do not like these regulations, do not apply these regulations, and we are using them. And these technologies, these media, are profit-driven, simply, and their incentive is in keeping everybody, and children especially, engaged as long as possible. So we have a problem here, obviously, and we have not done much about it initially, especially with the social media. I'm not talking about AI now. I'm talking about the previous impacting technology, which is the social media, which we still have and have problems with. That has our reaction to that has been more or less yielding. Maybe not consciously, but just not understanding it and letting it wash over us. But think, just to stop and think what this can cause. We'll talk about it a bit more again, but uh, you know what happened with when automotive innovation happened? What would have happened if we had just let the new technology of cars and automobiles roaming around in cities and everywhere without any rules? That is what we're talking about here as well. We need any new technology needs a good understanding and being prepared and possibly some sort of regulation. The disasters of yielding are many. Now, one of them, there are pretty serious ones as well. One of them is one of the consequences is the mental health consequence. There is the brain development harm because people are on screen, very passive. It is, according to the statistics, according to research, it causes structural changes in developing the brain. This is maybe not so much for the grown-ups. It is also for the grown-ups, by the way, but it is even worse for minds in development that are not totally developed yet. So as we said, it also impairs attention. It also causes sleep disturbances, depressions, and all kinds of things that are related to mental health and brain development. Another mental health consequence is the peer pressure and cyberbullying. You probably heard about this. It's just been in, I'm talking from Norway, Oslo. We just had it again today in the news that teens are spending time sort of competing online in a sense, and they are pressuring each other. We have the influencers. Some of them are okay influencers, but not all of them are okay influencers. And then if they are exposed to self-harm, the content that is not very nice, or they be pushed to lose self-esteem, etc., etc. And then, of course, one of the worst outcomes is the tragic ones. These unregulated environments has already been linked to documented suicide cases among especially young people who are looking for a friend and go to the systems and get the yeah not the right directions, not the right advice, basically. And it has caused pain in several families. Uh, Other disasters of just yielding, doing nothing, just opening up and taking the technology as is there'll be, of course, this digital abuse and deep fakes, and that is going to disturb the society. There will be many, there are many cheap and convincing fakes. My slide says 13% of teens affected. That's one thing, but the last one, the real world harm, is even worse. And it is not only related, again, it is more, the kids become more affected by it, of course, but this is not only, it's not only the kids. You've probably started seeing this being used in politics, in polarizing societies, it or in just some criminals trying to convince people to give them money or whatever. But it is a security breach. It is a defense problem as well as a social problem, as well as an educational problem. Abuse and deep fakes are very, very serious problems. And this is just another way of saying that we have a problem of with just yielding. Uh, Fake news is very interesting. This is statistics again, but sometimes we need these statistics. Fake news seems to spread 6 times faster than accurate information. Wow. So it seems we somehow choose to believe, take it with a pinch of salt. I'm going to correct myself in a few seconds. We seem to believe that what we see, the fake that we see, is more true than the truth. The 6 times faster than the truth is quite a bit. It spreads very fast. Of course, this research does not say why it spreads, just says that it does. Then we can talk about the reasons, and we have, in a sense, talked already about some of the reasons because we are not in a position to, because the incentive to regulate isn't there from the owners of these media, these technologies, and we are just not very attentive. We are locked into just scrolling over it very fast and whatnot. What we just talked. So those are the whys of why it is spreading faster than truth. But it is a huge danger. Uh, One would have liked to have the rules of journalism. In Norway, there is a rule that says tread carefully. And it is a law for the journalists. And you would want this to be on social media and AI as well, so that it doesn't, it detects and stops the spread of fake news, basically. Uh, in addition, on the very right, only 1 in 3 children in the age group 8 to 17 can correctly identify paid advertising on search results pages. They believe that it is a valid thing, whatever that advertisement is saying. They do not judge it as paid advertisement. And as I'm trying to point out, this is not only a children's problem, adults are equally vulnerable to information manipulation. It's not only the adults either. I've been trying to imply it, maybe I should say it explicitly, that it is also authorities, it's also countries, it's also institutions. We are all being exposed to fakes and can't the fact that we cannot spot fake news and we have the literacy gap. It's not only children, grown-ups who do not have AI literacy or social media literacy or digital literacy still. So yielding is bad. That we got, I hope. What about shielding? Uh, there are shielding implies strict rules, of course, and this is a natural instinct. Something is bad, and you just lock the door on it. But the intention, that's the intention we understand. The intention is sound. Yes, yes, we understand. But is the execution sufficient? And is the execution correct? So let's look at the dilemma of pure shielding. Uh, we then, what we do is we basically lock everything out without really understanding it. And it says, according to statistics, 14% of students already fear AI will replace their future professions. And hiding the technology or getting them away from this technology just amplifies the problem, both the fear, but the fact that they will not be able to catch up later. And we need to understand that we have to build literacy into these things, that we need to educate people, make them understand, the kids and the grown-ups, how to use it safely and responsibly, because change is absolutely inevitable. And I'm not talking about AI and social media only. Change is inevitable. In a couple of years, there will be something else that won't be called AI, but it will be as disruptive. And we will be, if we do not understand how to handle these things, manage these things, it will be the same. And pure shilling has another serious problem. Uh, it will be like stealing the future of the kids. Well, employees are already demanding workers who can combine their labor with AI to produce value. Well, maybe employers aren't all that correct in their expectations, but we cannot just uh, stop the kids learning what this is and managing what it is, and while we are shielding them, also allow them to understand the technology, to be able to live up to it in the future, to be able to use that technology. So that is what we come to the third reaction, wielding, mastering the storm or riding the storm. It means mastering the tools, basically. AI can be dangerous, also social media. Social media is communication. If we can manage it properly, it's good communication. If we can manage AI properly, it will multiply our efficiency, basically, being able to do things. And it's sort of a enabler, in a sense, for productivity and problem solving and all that stuff, if done responsibly and within ethical bounds. So mastering the storm is understanding why we need to shield, why we need not to yield, but also understanding why we need to be able to handle it, master it, instead of just stopping it. Um, but there are also risks in unshielded wielding. Things like academic dishonesty, you've seen it, that people just write papers that they haven't written. Or master's thesis or PhD thesis and all that stuff. People can generate content that is intentionally bad or harmful. And there is also this brain rot from endless algorithmic feeds replacing active learning and creativity. We need to enable active learning and creativity. Teaching children to wield without ethical guardrails or safety awareness, not only children, everybody, brings us directly back to the disasters of yielding. So, wielding is not good if you do not have the guardrails. We need this shielded wielding, is what I'm trying to call it, basically. We must reject both complete capitulation, yielding, and total isolation, the strict shielding, but have shielding when wielding, integrating the technology, understanding it, learning about it into education and society with robust, balanced guardrails, with the traffic rules, if you want. We need to teach how it works. We have to prepare all stakeholders, and this is not a joke, all stakeholders. It's not children alone. It's also the educators, the parents, the institutions, and the authorities, the politicians, everybody. It is the whole stakeholder now, because if the authorities do not start raining some good rules and good money onto this kind of efforts, like this webinar, for example, it's not going to work very well in the end. Then we will have the problems, and the educators will also have the problems, and the parents will also have the problems, and the children will also have the problems. So it starts, in a sense, from the top, and everybody is responsible and should understand the shielded wielding. We need to be able to master the technology, but with the stuff that balances its risks out, basically. So, how do we do
Sorry
that?
to,
Well,
yeah, sorry to interrupt, but we're out of time.
oh, are
You
we
could, yeah,
good?
close,
But
you
I
could
think if
close
the
quickly.
message was went through, I hope.
I think
Uh,
so. I'd like everyone else's feedback. I think it was really great. I mean, we have listeners. It was very, very interesting. Yeah. The shielded wheeling. I don't know if you want to give a last message at the end about crafting tomorrow, because
yeah. I will share this slide set, and there are links to our what we are actually doing. You can look through it, and there's actual systems out there now to trying to help EU because we are an entirely European solution built in Europe and fully on European infrastructure. So just stay in touch. Ask me. I will help. Okay?
absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. And sorry about that
Come on.
time. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's okay. I always talk longer. So, yeah.
Well, worth listening to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am logging out. Is that
Okay.
the case? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll just close the webinar. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.